It's good that you're out here, but go a little slower. Dove and I, and sometimes Memory and Filia, we're doing a workout this morning up here in our attic. Dove is in charge, so she's not up here yet, but she's gonna tell me what to do. We are gonna be doing a full body workout, which sounds really intense, but I don't think it's gonna be that intense. Eden joined us. Hi, Eden. What's up? Look who else joined us. Leah.
And me too.
And you. And Rainier. That's right. We are done with our workout. It's a little challenging to do this with Rainier, but he was doing a lot of it with us.
How far am I?
You're pretty far. I am reminded every morning about how not flexible I am, but hopefully by doing these exercises, I'll get more flexibility and strength. I want to share how things are going with me, especially with this merch store that I'm trying to get launched. A little background story, if you haven't watched the last couple of videos, our family started a new schedule in light of the craziness that's going on in the world, things shutting down. We took this time as an opportunity to kind of reset our schedule. And so we have a schedule that consists of 5 days a week. We have 4 different work blocks that everyone can choose whether or not to do. And in those work blocks, we're just encouraging ourselves to work on something that you wouldn't otherwise work on. But first, I just want to stop and say, man, check out my makeup right now. Look how cool that is. My daughter, Memory, who's 13, is really good at putting makeup on. This morning, I had a breakdown because I decided that I wanted to be in charge of our merch store because I thought that that would be a really good learning opportunity for me and a way for me to be a part of our family business. And, oh man, see, I'm cracking my knuckles right now because that's what I do to relieve stress. Or when I'm stressed out, I just like do it and I don't even realize I'm doing it. First of all, I have a tendency, if I don't know how to do something, I think especially in certain areas, my default mode is to kind of shut down. And in my earlier years, that's like all I would do is just shut down and procrastinate and just like shove it off to the side, escape, do something else. Now I've learned to ask help. I think that's shown really good growth for me. But I think sometimes I ask help as a way to escape having to actually try to figure something out on my own. Okay, so this morning Ben was saying, hey, why are you not working on the merch store? And I'm like, well, I worked on it on Monday. I didn't work on it yesterday. And we just had this conversation that was kind of emotional for me because he was basically calling me out on, you're not doing this stuff. And I was giving him excuses as to why I'm not doing this stuff. But at the end of the day, none of those excuses are the real reason why I'm not doing this stuff. The real reason why I'm not doing this stuff is because I'm afraid. And I also think there's a belief in me that says, you can't do this. You need someone else to do this for you. And I felt really like a failure. I have felt like a failure. I have felt like I'm not good at this. I can't do this. Someone else should probably do this. I'm never going to get this merch store off the ground. So after shedding a few tears and I think really facing my demons in this, I realized I can put more effort into this, but it's just emotionally really difficult for me. But what this looks like is, in particular, I'm having a really hard time with figuring out shipping. This occurred to me this morning. I can look on Google or on YouTube. I'm sure there's a plethora of videos and articles that explain how to deal with shipping. And even if I don't come up with the answer, I bet I can do that and I'd learn something and I'd probably get a lot closer to the answer than I'm at right now. But what's interesting is that it's hard for me to even get to that point where I'm like, oh, for some reason it's really hard for me to troubleshoot in these certain areas of my life that I have told myself, you can't do this. You're not good at this. In these areas, what I tend to do is I tend to procrastinate. Like I said, I also tend to defer. Like, hey, Ben, will you help me with this? Which can sound nice and he's willing to help, but it's also selling myself short and it's kind of a crutch instead of having to really press in and deal with why am I not able to do this on my own, at least in part, like at least to do my part. That is a really interesting question for me and one that I'm trying to sit with. And I knew taking on this merch store would bring so much of this shit up, like in my face, like here it is. Like, so, today I plan on spending an hour by myself trying to troubleshoot and figure out and get at least closer to some of these questions that I have and some of these things that have kept me from launching the store, like figuring out shipping costs. I think when it all comes down to it, I think my main problem is I have this belief that I can't do it, that I'm like, maybe that I'm too dumb in this area, that I'm not able to figure it out. It's hard for me to know if I like really believe that. I mean, there's just a lot of shit from my past, right? That there's a lot of reasons why I believe that. And it's really hard to face these kinds of things because I think I've been believing a lie. And by facing this, I have to say and admit, oh, I've believed this lie. I don't think this is true. And then start acting like I don't think this is true. So this week has been, I think, really good. I think the schedule has been really, really good for people. But I think it's also really challenging because there was default modes that myself, the kids, Ben, we all fell into in our normal life before we started this schedule. And having these 4 work blocks has really highlighted a lot of things. Like, I'm seeing the kids create and bake and do all these like cool things that I haven't seen them do before, or I haven't seen them do very often. And for myself, I think my default mode was to procrastinate with these really tough things. And then I would do a little bit just to kind of like tell myself, well, I'm working on it. But then I'd procrastinate more. So this week, with this new schedule, it has really highlighted to me how much I procrastinate and how much I don't want to do the things that I really need to do. And I really even want to do at the end of the day, because I think it would really help me and it would really help the family, and I don't know, it would help me grow. It's the things that I want to do to feel accomplished, to feel proud of myself. Maybe some of you, a lot of you can relate to this kind of thing where there's these voices in your head that with certain things in your life, they raise up and they say, no, you can't do this. You need someone else to do this for you. And what's tricky about that is asking for help is actually a really good idea, a really good thing to do. And it's hard to do. And there are legitimate times I should ask for help. But in this particular instance, I'm hiding behind that instead of, there's like a lot of things I can do before I can get to that point where I'm asking for help. Like, I'm asking for help, and in doing that, I'm avoiding having to really face this stuff. A question I think I would ask you that are listening and watching this are, what are the things that are in your life that there's fear around, that you, or maybe a lie that you told yourself about yourself that is inhibiting something that you deep down really want to accomplish or want to grow in? Because I do think there is a warring thing going on with me personally. I think over here, I actually really want to grow as a person. I want to launch a merch store. I want to do this thing. But then over here, there's all these fears and lies that are keeping me from this thing. And so it's like I need to do battle and face this so that I can, dissolve this, a lot of it, so I can get to the point where this can become a reality. I will keep you updated. I really hope to have the merch store launched by next week. I think another fear of mine is messing up and making a mistake. And since this merch store has to do with a lot of other people, I'm afraid of making a mistake that's going to affect other people. But again, that's over here. That's the fear. That's another fear that's stopping me from doing this. Okay. I am facing my fears right now. It's now our 3rd work block of the day, and I have these questions I'm trying to figure out about shipping, specifically with mugs and t-shirts, and how much shipping should cost for each of these items, and what if people order multiple items and it's different distances and all that. So I'm going to be looking up some videos and maybe some articles here and try to see if I can get some answers. How to set shipping rates for your online store. Okay, we'll start with this. fairly productive. I only spent about 20 minutes, and then Memory and Filia needed to use the computer for something that was time sensitive. But I did find out something interesting and very applicable to what I'm trying to do, so that was encouraging. It didn't feel like I was running around in circles or just not being able to find anything. So I'm excited to have this piece of information that I found. Well, we finished our last work block of the day. It's 2:30 p.m. right now. I probably spent about 20 or 30 minutes on researching shipping. Within the first 10 minutes, I found something that will probably be super useful information for me with shipping. So it's kind of interesting how I've been avoiding this, but within 5 minutes of researching on my own, I found something. So it is a gorgeous day outside. Today it feels like spring. I guess it is spring. It's March 24th. And Memory, what have you been doing out here?
Spent 2 hours doing the grass and sweeping.
Mowing? You mowed the grass?
Yeah, I mowed the grass and clipped it and raked it.
Wow.
Cleared everything off of it.
Looks really good. Great work. Whoa.
Watch out, there's a crack there.
Panic! This week we've been running more than usual, like 5 days a week, and it's starting to, I don't know, it's kind of wearing on me. Like, when I get back from a run, I'm always glad I did it, but it takes a lot of energy for me to get out there, and so I think I'm gonna have to look at the end of this week if I want to keep running this much. I don't know, but it is a beautiful day. I do want to be outside.
Supposedly, Dove and Eden are out here already, so we'll see if we catch up to them.
I'm listening to my body. First of all, I'm burping up a bunch of chips and salsa, but I'm listening to my body, and my body's like, okay, it's good that you're out here, but go a little slower. So I'm like, all right, body, you got it.
You got like dandelion yellow all on your nose.
A good run. It's a beautiful day today. We saw some friends on our run. I've been feeling like the schedule is a little claustrophobic feeling for me because it's different than what I'm used to. But I want to give it a solid week or two to really see if anything needs to change. I think maybe what I'm feeling is just it's so new. And as I get more used to it, then it won't feel as claustrophobic. And there's a lot of things I really like about it. But I think change is a hard thing. So I think I'm gonna keep up with it for definitely a solid week, but probably longer than that. And then I'll weigh in. Thanks for watching today. We'll see you guys next time.